Walk into your room right now. Look around. What do you see? Now, how do you feel? If you're honest with yourself, you already know. That pile of clothes you've been stepping over for 3 days, the dishes stacked in the sink, the paper scattered across your desk, they're not just mess. They're decisions you haven't made, and every single one is quietly draining you. Here's what nobody tells you. The state of your space isn't random. It's not about being lazy. It's not about being too busy. It's a mirror, and what it's reflecting back at you is something deeper than you think. Today, I'm going to show you why some people keep their space clean without even trying, while others can't seem to keep it together for more than a day. And by the end of this video, you'll understand something about yourself you've never noticed before. Here's what's actually happening. Every object out of place in your environment is an unmade decision. That shirt on the floor? You decided not to hang it up. That dirty cup on your desk? You decided not to wash it. That unopened mail? You decided not to deal with it. Now here's the part that destroys you. Your brain doesn't forget. It stores every single unmade decision as a background task. Like apps running in the background of your phone, draining the battery, these unmade decisions drain your mental energy. Psychologists call this decision fatigue. And physical clutter is one of the biggest sources. A 2011 study from Princeton found that your visual cortex gets overwhelmed when your environment is chaotic. Too many objects competing for attention, too many decisions waiting to be made, and your brain can't fully focus on anything because it's trying to process everything. This is why you can sit at a messy desk for 2 hours and accomplish nothing. You're not procrastinating, you're mentally exhausted before you even start, because your brain is using energy just existing in that space. Now let's talk about why this keeps happening. Why you clean your room and 3 days later it's a disaster again. It's not lack of discipline, it's identity. Here's the loop most people are trapped in. You believe you're a messy person, so you act like a messy person, which creates a messy environment, which reinforces that you're a messy person, round and round. This is called a self-fulfilling prophecy. You don't keep your space clean because you don't see yourself as someone who does that. And the brutal part, every time you walk into your messy room and think, I'm such a mess, you're strengthening that identity. You're literally programming yourself to stay messy. But here's the flip side. People who keep clean spaces aren't born that way. They didn't get some special discipline gene. They just built a different identity loop. They started seeing themselves as someone who maintains their space. And once that became their identity, the behavior followed automatically. Not because they force it, because it's just who they are now. Let me tell you about the most underrated psychological tool you have, your morning. Specifically, the first decision you make when you wake up. Most people don't realize this, but your brain is watching everything you do in the morning. It's taking notes. It's learning who you are today. And the first action you take, that sets the tone for every decision that follows. This is why making your bed matters. Not because a made bed changes your life, but because making your bed is a signal that says, I am someone who completes things. I am someone who follows through. I am someone who cares about my environment. And your brain hears that signal. Then when the next decision comes, do I wash this dish or leave it? Your brain remembers who you decided to be this morning, someone who follows through. Research on habit formation shows that small wins create momentum. One completed task makes the next task easier. One good decision makes the next good decision more likely. This is why people who make their bed every morning are statistically more productive. Not because bed making is magic, because they started their day by being someone who finishes what they start. Here's something most people never connect. Your space holds emotional weight. Literally, every item in your environment carries a feeling attached to it. That pile of clothes you haven't folded, it's not just clothes, it's guilt. Shame. The feeling of, I should have done this already. That project sitting on your desk for 2 weeks, anxiety, pressure, fear of starting. That gift someone gave you that you don't like but can't throw away, obligation, resentment. Your messy space isn't neutral. It's a graveyard of unprocessed emotions, and every time you look at it, you feel all of it again. This is why cleaning can feel so overwhelming. You're not just moving objects, you're dealing with emotions you've been avoiding. But here's the powerful part. When you clean, when you make decisions and move those objects, you're also releasing those emotions. You're completing the loop. This is why people say they feel lighter after cleaning. It's not just physical, it's emotional regulation through action. You're taking back control, not just of your space, but of your emotional state. Let me show you something counterintuitive. The less control you have over your space, the less control you feel over your life. But the more control you take over your space, the more control you feel everywhere else. This is the control paradox. Your environment is the one thing you have complete authority over. Not your job, not other people, not the economy, not traffic, but this room, this space, this counter. You control that. And when you exercise that control, when you actively shape your environment, something shifts in your psychology. You start to believe you have agency. You start to feel like someone who makes things happen, not someone who lets things happen to them. Psychologists call this self-efficacy, the belief that your actions matter. And the fastest way to build self-efficacy, control your immediate environment. Make your bed, clean your desk, organize one drawer. These aren't small, meaningless tasks. They're proof that you can decide something and make it happen. And that proof compounds. Here's the most practical thing I can give you. It's called the 2-minute rule. Any task that takes less than 2 minutes, do it immediately. Don't think about it. Don't add it to a list. Don't say, I'll do it later. Just do it right now. Hang up the jacket. Wash the dish. Put the book back. 2 minutes or less, done immediately. This rule solves the entire problem because mess doesn't start as mess. It starts as one thing, one shirt, one dish, one piece of paper. And if you handle it in 2 minutes, it never becomes a pile. The pile only exists because you delayed the 2-minute task 50 times. So now you have a 2-hour problem. But if you adopt this rule, the mess never accumulates. Your space stays maintained, not because you spent hours cleaning, because you spent 2 minutes 50 times. And 2 minutes, you always have 2 minutes. Let me give you one more tool, the reset ritual. Here's how it works. At the end of every day, before you go to bed, spend 10 minutes resetting your space to 0. Every dish washed, every item back in its place, every surface clear. You're not deep cleaning. You're resetting, returning everything to its default state. This does 2 things. First, it creates a psychological boundary. You're telling your brain, the day is over. Everything is handled. I can rest now. That signal alone improves sleep quality. Second, it sets you up for tomorrow. You wake up to a clean space, which means you start the day without that low-level anxiety of walking into chaos. Your environment supports you instead of draining you. This 10-minute reset ritual is the difference between people who maintain clean spaces and people who don't. It's not more discipline. It's one small ritual that prevents the mess from ever building up. Here's what I want you to understand. Your messy room isn't the problem. It's the symptom. The problem is how you see yourself. The problem is the decisions you're avoiding. The problem is the emotions you're not processing. The problem is believing you don't have control. But you do. You have complete control over this one thing, your space. And when you take control of your space, when you make it clean, clear, organized, you're not just cleaning, you're practicing control. You're building identity. You're proving to yourself that you can decide something and make it happen. And that practice, it changes everything. So here's what I want you to do right now, not later, not tomorrow, right now. Look around, pick one thing that's out of place, one thing, and put it where it belongs. That's it. One decision, one action. 2 minutes, and notice how you feel after, because that feeling, that's what control feels like. That's what agency feels like. That's what being someone who follows through feels like. And if you can do it once, you can do it again, and again, and again, until it's not something you do, it's just who you are.